Okay, so let's get started. I have with me today, Mr. Chris Heller. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good, Kevin. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. So, Chris, I want to quickly just from my side, why it's a privilege to have you on the show today, is I've been a fan of yours for years. I've been with Keller since 2014, and a couple of years ago, I want to say it was late 2016, I had the privilege of one of your CEOs sneaking me onto a call with you. It was one of your team leader calls, the Friday calls where you just drill them and you're straight to business. You want to know the numbers, the results, the GCI, the CGI, all those kind of numbers. And that was the first time I had heard, and I'm not trying to kiss your butt, I'm really being sincere right here, Chris. That was the first time I really heard somebody of excellence at a whole nother level.
Oh,
I know you're running Keller Williams.
I appreciate that. It's if that was 2015 or whenever that was, I got into the business. I got my license in 1983, so been at it a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just remember, Chris, I was so in awe that actually I went from having my own team in Newport. I had a really kick-ass, dynamic millennial team, Chris. That took me from being, in a sense, running a team to wanting to get into leadership because I wanted to learn the skills that you were training your team leaders and CEOs at that time. And I know because I've led a few teams myself, Chris, is through your direction, just the results that we were getting and the explosive growth that we're taking market share because of your leadership. And I'm giving that to you. That's the takeaway from this. If I can give you anything, Chris, your job as CEO of Keller Williams was remarkable. And that's coming from me, and I'll take it with me to the grave, Chris.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's go into we're in the 21st century, today's present day. So Chris, what I really want to get down to this morning was you're a Southern California local, and now all of a sudden you've made this big move to Austin, Texas. How's that treating you?
Austin, Texas is a great area, and the area I live here in Austin is very similar to where I live in San Diego. And I still maintain homes in both places, so I get to visit, although I haven't been back in a while because of the current situation. But I feel very at home here in Austin as I do when I'm in San Diego.
Because I know San Diego so well. It's a beautiful place. Do you miss the ocean, or you really?
I do. I mean, that's if people always ask me which do I like better. If I had to choose, my home in Encinitas is a half mile from the water. I have a beautiful view. I can walk to the beach. That you can't beat that. And the weather there is, maybe arguably the best weather in the world. So,
right.
But if I had to be somewhere else, Austin's a good runner-up.
Got it. So, Chris, do you mind taking us through just a day-to-day activity of what your schedule looks like? I know you're at home right now, you're under quarantine, but let's say you're popping into the office. Do you mind taking us through that process of what kind of leadership that looks like for you, Chris?
Sure. I get up early. I like to get up early because it allows me to get a lot done. I can read, I can exercise, I can get my mind, focused. And I like to get into the office early. So when I do go into the office, it's usually I'm there 7:15, 7:30, which for a startup technology company is early. And that allows me to just get a lot done before the meetings start and all the other things that happen throughout the day. I usually work a full day. When I work. I'm not socializing. I'm not wasting time. I try to be as efficient, as effective as I can with my time. And that way, when the day is over, then I can leave. And almost every day when I'm done working, I go get some more exercise. I usually go for a bike ride or a walk or do some form of cardio.
Got it, Chris. Do you still kind of keep that same regimen that you had as a real estate agent where you prospected from like 9 to noon no matter what? Do you still kind of have the same schedule, or are things different now that you're in a different position?
Yeah. So now that I'm more in a leadership position. So that schedule that I had in real estate was literally didn't change for 28 years. And then after 28 years, I went to Keller Williams, and I was there for let's see, for 7 years in leadership. As the president of Worldwide, as the CEO of the company. And then I left there and went to Loan Depot and became the CEO of Mellow Home, and then now here at Ojo Labs. The things about the schedule that are the same is that I still get up at the same time. I still have my morning routine, where I'm, again, exercising, reading, affirmations, those things. What's different is I'm not on the phone calling expired listings and
I bet you don't miss that, Chris.
Actually, it was never, it was always a challenge to me. So I always viewed it as a competition. And, my determination was going to be greater than the person who I was calling to get what I wanted, which was an appointment. So I viewed every call as a competitive type of event.
You're a very different human being, because I was also there back in the days, Chris, back in 2012 when I got my license, but I did it because I had to. I didn't have your mindset. I was like, it's just, I need an appointment. Maybe I should have come and worked for you, but I knew a lot about you, Chris. Your name gets dropped a lot, especially back then in Southern California, especially when you're in the international market, opening up other territories and so forth. Chris, so this is kind of going to my next question, which is interesting because I've heard of Ojo Labs. I've done my research on it, but I'm really not getting it. Chris, can you explain to me in like layman's terms, what is Ojo Labs?
Yeah, so we're a technology company in the real estate space. We've developed some great artificial intelligence and combined that with some great processes in human intelligence. And really what we are is a tool for consumers to use to be able to get their questions answered so they can make better decisions. We want to help and empower consumers with more information to make good decisions when it comes to real estate. So simply through SMS, a consumer can interact with Ojo, ask any question they want about real estate, about specific properties, and view properties. And during that interaction, Ojo learns about the consumer, learns about their preferences, learns about their likes and dislikes, and then is able to curate properties that are in line with those preferences. We're also able to identify attributes of properties that a lot of the other places that people go to search for properties just aren't able to do. So, and then when consumers are ready or wanting to be connected to a service professional, a real estate agent, or a mortgage professional, then we're able to make that introduction.
So Chris, you gave us like kind of the basic layman's terms, but you know this more than anybody because you're in that world. It's a whole nother level, right, of technology and machine learning and artificial intelligence. I mean, you just look at what Elon Musk can do on the private sector, taking us into space now. I mean, really, once you master that, it doesn't just elevate you, it's exponential, vertical kind of growth and game changing.
It really, it is really cool to not only be a part of it, but to see it happening, to interact with the engineers, to interact with our product teams, and to see them actually building things, and then see the output of it and the effects of it, and consumers interacting and getting things that they're looking to get from it. So it is a different than selling houses.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads me to my next question, Chris, is, you do have this reputation for making businesses mega, really kind of taking them to that 100% or that double growth annually and so forth. And people can do their own research online on Chris Heller, actually, by the way. But what attracted you to Ojo? Because it's a startup. You've run your own, I want to call it a super team in San Diego. Yeah. The head of sales homes team. You ran Keller Williams. You took them to a whole nother level. I actually came to Mellow Home, Chris, and I saw what you did. I saw your Mellow Home facility. I was blown away. That was, I want to say the word sexy. Maybe it's not right, but I mean, that was a pretty epic facility.
That was a sexy office, yeah.
That was epic. And I know Jeremiah very well. I'm a big fan of Jeremiah. So he toured me around the facility. And now you've gone from these kind of high profile entities to a startup. What attracted you to OJ Labs,
Yeah.
Chris?
So I actually met them when I was the CEO of Keller Williams. I was very impressed with the founders, and this was in 2016. And in 2017, I became actually an early investor. I really was excited about what they were doing. They asked me to become an advisory board member, so I helped advise them for a few years, and then actually became a board member of the company. So
Wow.
I've followed them all along. In July of last year, uh, yeah, about almost a year ago,
Mm,
I joined them full time, and the company was growing at a pace and to a level where I think we finally both realized, the CEO and myself, that this was a good time. Um, we're all here, the leadership, the executive team, which is a very senior
yes.
executive team here at this company. We're all here to do something big. We've all done things, and some people may think some of the things I've done are big, but I don't feel like I've done my big thing. We're here at Ojo to do something big and something very, very impactful. And that's
Absolutely.
attracted me. And there's that mindset, there's that skill, that talent level, and there's that determination here to turn this into a very large company.
Right, because your surroundings are going to change. They are going to make you what you are. So, Chris, most new AIs, artificial intelligence platforms, are looking at eliminating the real estate agent, and we all know that. It just, at least us agents know that. Whereas you're looking at bridging the relationship between buyers and sellers and realtors. Why don't you choose that traditional way instead of kind of the Zillow and Realtor.com way, where you bypassing the agent?
Yeah. So, and it's not because I'm an agent at heart, and I still have my team in San Diego. They're still selling lots of houses, but we truly believe with this type of transaction, when it comes to buying or selling a home. Now, I am in the process of selling one property right now. I'm probably going to list 2 more properties. These are all out of areas, not in San Diego where mine is, and I'm looking to buy another property. I'm using agents. Now, I know how to negotiate as good or better than most.
Yes.
I understand real estate. I understand the process. But having that local knowledge, that local expertise is invaluable. And we believe that. You know, with the transaction as large and as emotional as a real estate transaction, we don't believe that agents are going to be replaced. Now, we do believe that a lot of the activities that agents do can be replicated or can be replaced to the benefit of the agent and the consumer, which frees the agent up to do what they do best, which is to have those human interactions with consumers, you know, to consult them on their real estate
Yeah,
needs.
correct. They contact sport. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, entertain me for just a brief moment here. Let's pretend it's 2030. Okay. What does the future look like for real estate? And I'm talking about the industry, Chris, real estate agents, the buyers, the sellers, the investors. What does that look like, Chris?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And 2030 seems like a really long time from now, but I know we'll wake up, you know, in not very long ago. I can't believe it's already 2030.
Right.
I think it's going to look a lot different, and I think it's going to be. And then again, I think a lot of our world will look a lot different. I think there's 2 things that seem to be happening. There's this tremendous momentum of technology and consumer behavior, which impacts technology, and then the technology
Right.
impacts consumer behavior, and that train is going fast and is going to continue. At the same time, there's this strong sentiment towards values and human values, and we're feeling that in our society and in our world now.
Yeah.
With technology and consumer behavior, when it comes to real estate, I think there's going to be some things that we can pretty safely say in 2030 will be different than they are now. One of which will be, there'll just be a lot fewer real estate agents because we won't need nearly as many as we need. And
That's so true. Absolutely.
and the agents that are in the business will be operating at a different level than they do now. You know, they'll be more managing relationships. managing the flow of information and data to help consumers do what they want to do. Consumers will have a much easier time. The process of buying and selling a home will be much easier 20 or 30 years, excuse me,
Right.
10 years from now and 20
Right.
than it is now. A lot more of it will be automated, a lot more of it will be digital, a lot more of it will be electronic,
And
and
expedited, crunching time.
crunching time. It'll be more data driven where,
Yeah.
for me to, just like now when I want to go to Netflix to choose something to view, Netflix is helping me curate the right type of information. By 2030, the technology will definitely be helping us curate the right type of properties and narrow that search, shorten the amount of time it takes us to find what we're looking for. And then once we do, make it much easier to acquire or to sell what we want to acquire or sell.
Right. I want to share something with you, Chris. About 5 years ago, um, I was, me and my wife were going through a tough time, and so we were going to counseling. And I remember the counselor, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but I want to share this with you. I remember the counselor saying to me, you know, she asked me a question. I said, well, I can't wait for the day to be setting real estate on Mars. And she said to me, she said, Kevin, you live in like La La Land. That's not going to happen. Literally a few months later, Elon Musk announced we're sending human beings to Mars. That psychologist called me up, Chris, and apologized. Instead of endorsing me and supporting me and understanding that I had foresight and I had vision, and maybe our relationship was tough at the time. Thank God it's good now. We've been together for 21 years. But I remember it's very hard for people to see into the future. That's why we need people like you that are innovators. I don't believe that you're a disruptor, Chris. I don't believe that at all. I believe you might be a little bit frank or transparent in your honesty. There's no gray area with you. It's either yes or a no. And even if it is a no, let's improve that. You know what I mean, Chris? What I do like about you, because I have followed you very, very closely. I've known you for many years now, Chris, and I've seen you at many events, and you come in very humble. I believe you come with empathy. We've seen a hard edge to you, Chris, but I do believe that you're a kind human being. That's not why I'm doing this show. I'm really just trying to reveal the favor that I have towards you, Chris.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for your time. It's very, very special to me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's always nice to be seen. It's nice to be understood. So
absolutely. Chris, the interesting thing is 33 is a special number to me, and you're my number 33 episode. So I started this 6 weeks ago, and I said, how can I build my brand? So I build my brand is, start hanging out with the epic human beings. And by far, I'm really impressed by you because you kind of hit the top of the iceberg for me. And I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. So I'm glad you said 33 was a special number. Otherwise, I would have been thinking, wow, there were 32 people that he wanted.
No, they're all amazing. They're all associates of mine and friends, and I like that. I like numbers. They don't lie. So I'm calculating everything, and I treat it like a business. That's the most amazing thing. And I need to get back to doing residential open houses and so forth, because when I did open houses, I was making money, and when I go into commercial, I delve too much, 100% into commercial. I need to kind of give it almost not a 50-50, but I need to start closing some homes before I got a little bit of a spanking is what I'm trying to say, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, I want to end this off, and thank you for your time, by the way. I want to end this off, Chris. I've got one last question for you, and I know this is going to be just awesome coming from you. What's the one thing, Chris, for you, I'm talking about you, Chris, that you can share with us that drives you to such excellence?
Oh, all right. Another good question. Whenever someone starts a question with the one thing, that's always hard for me because there's never, and rarely is there one thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very true.
But I would say, to try to answer your question, Kevin, I have a burning desire to keep learning and growing and to keep expanding my capacities, my capabilities, my way of thinking, and that is that's served me well. And then there's a bunch of other answers I could give too, but you asked for one.
Well, Chris, actually, have you written a book? Is there a book coming up by Chris Heller by any chance?
I haven't. I've thought about it several times.
Yeah.
But no.
Because you've had a very successful track record. You've learned a lot of lessons. You're definitely an elevated human being. I think that would be very special if you could share some of that magic with us, especially like a takeaway, because I would buy it. I mean, I literally, I almost buy a book every 2 weeks. I got a whole box of books yesterday. I'm in quarantine, Chris. Besides trying to run a digital business, I'm keeping my mind busy. Is there anything in the future you think you'll be doing?
You know what? I have thought about it. I tell you what stops me is I don't. The book's not done yet, so I only feel like I'm halfway through my journey. So if it does happen, it'll probably be a few years from now when I've accomplished more of the things that I want to
Wow.
accomplish and evolved more of the way that I want to evolve.
Guys, this is Chris Heller. He's a man dear to my heart because I've learned a lot from him. He has changed my life and my business in many ways that I can be here for 10 hours. Chris, if we want to reach out to you, because I try to, the OJ Labs hasn't launched yet, right? Because I try to find the app.
Yeah. So actually, you can go to ojo.com.
Okay.
If you want to reach me, it's you can message me on Facebook or on LinkedIn.
Right.
My email is cheller@ojolabs.com.
Awesome. There you have it, guys. Chris Heller, local Southern California boy, now living in Austin, Texas with the Cowboys. Thank you for your time, Chris. It's an absolute blessing. May you have a fantastic day. And thank you for everything you've shared with us, Chris.
Hey, Kevin, my pleasure. Hope this was helpful for someone out there.
That was brilliant. Thank you, Chris.